broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another amazing AfterBuzz TV after show for your favorite show, Hemlock Grove. We're on Season 3, Episode 5, The Boy in the Box. I'm your host, Sean Overman, and you can find me at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm joined here by my lovely, beautiful co-host across from us, as usual.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
And I'm Marielou Mandl. You can find me on all social media at Marielou Mandl.
And today we're joined by a special guest. He plays Aitor Quantic on Hemlock Grove, Richard Gunn.
Hi, how you doing?
Thanks for joining us, Richard. You graced us with your presence.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So
thank you so much for coming in. I'm really excited.
Yeah, we are excited to have you here, and we're just going to be talking about so much stuff. This was such a great episode, Boy in the Box, and we're going to talk about you and what's going on with your character Aitor and Shelley, and we're going to talk about Price. Let's start talking about Price, because this guy, we got to reveal so much about his personal life, and never had we seen anything like this before. He's always in the White Tower, right? Or in the laboratory.
He's always in brightness and bright rooms, and then you would never really think how ironic his character grew up in a dark box.
Yeah, I wonder if people really ever speculated about his past, because he's so iconic.
Yeah.
And the way that he rules that White Tower.
He does, and it's interesting that you guys both bring that up, because I was every moment I feel was fun and like more than satisfactory with him in the laboratory in the White Tower. Just every scene had just pop. Everything was humorous, funny, great dynamics with all the characters that Price has, and then the metaphor of him being in the White Tower and then being in a black box, and we just got to hear that last episode that he doesn't like being in boxes. But then it's really counterintuitive, because we hear him say this episode that he feels something calming about being a box. And it's like a cleansing, and it's something he needs to do. It's like he's punishing himself. We got to see that when he was a little boy. And he, at the first point, he was like a toddler practically, and his father forces him into the box. And then when he's in prepubescent, he looks at his father, which is probably, obviously many years have elapsed. And his father is like, just gives him the look, and he goes in the box himself, right? So that's kind of like what he's doing now, right? With this whole thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he's putting himself in the box. He's self-punishing. And, like when I saw that, like it actually kind of, I related a lot to that, because I remember growing up and thinking like, just self-punishing, and people will be like, you didn't really do anything wrong. And I'm like, no, but I did, because of whatever happened when I was younger, and I felt like I needed to punish myself. Like I was like, oh, I'm just going to ground myself. And they're like, no, you can go do something with your friends, it's fine.
Yeah. It's also interesting knowing that Johan has such a dark past. I mean, we've been hinted that he has a sordid past thanks to Olivia, but now we actually get the reveal of what exactly it is, and kind of makes us understand the audience, and the audience understands like where he comes from and why he's so mentally irregular in a way. I guess
it also makes him so much more human.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think he's this genius that's ruling this White Tower and coming up with all these amazing ideas and inventions, and it really humanizes him and shows his vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I think he's punishing himself. I didn't see it as him punishing himself going into the box. I think he finds some sort of twisted comfort in that.
Yeah. It's like if you grow up conditioned one way, that's all what you know. And I think that's where he finds his comfort in that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, because he does say that the darkness like washes everything away. but then he chooses to spend all his time in the White Tower.
But then he was in the box so much when he was a kid as punishment, but I'm sure he found a way to cope with it, and that probably was where the comforting element of that came from.
Right. But I was surprised that he put his dad in the box. I thought he was just going to leave.
Oh, this is not that is Hemlock Grove.
That is Hemlock Grove.
What he did to him.
Yeah. I was like, oh, all right.
That's twisted.
Yeah, I thought it was so fascinating because we opened the episode with him going into that club, right? We don't know what kind of a place it is. Right. And we're like, what's he doing? Is he going to a strip club? And he's going to meet a dude.
Yeah,
so,
it's not a techno spa.
No, it's not a techno spa. No.
But they play techno.
Yeah. But I thought it was so fascinating. And he goes in there, right? There's no lights. He turns off the lights, and then there's so much jargon that they spout off in the first exchange between him and this random guy.
Oh, like online meeting jargon?
Yeah, exactly. And he says top and popper friendly. And then I looked this up. I don't know if you did, Marisa. Did you?
No, you can say it.
All right. So I looked it up, and I was so surprised. Urban Dictionary says it's an amyl nitrate, which is a small brown bottle that contains solvents in it, and it relaxes the anus. So it allows them to have anal sex more, which is crazy. I was like, what? The first time they said it, I was like, okay, what? Pop? Like, what is he talking about? Like, so it was just funny. Yeah, but I was just
clear to have a Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I was just like blown away. What's going on here? And I didn't even really get it until halfway through the episode when you see the guy behind him. Right? Yeah. I was like, okay, maybe he's just like, maybe he's doing something else with the guy. He's not having what's actually going on, but it was.
Well, I think they speculated in seasons 1 and 2 that Price is gay. So now we finally got the confirmation that he is. Yes, we got to see it. That's another interesting thing is that they switched from Destiny. Like, she probably wasn't gay. She's bisexual, right? Because in season 1 they had her with Chaucer, and then she started being with Andreas.
With Andreas, Luke Camerelli's character, but now we've gone back, so we haven't had like any kind of bisexual relationships really or gay relationships on the show, but now we see Price coming out of the closet, and it's so fascinating too because he goes online later on in the episode, and he's like, do you guys feel like he's tired of doing these like late night things in the techno bang rooms?
No, I think he enjoys it.
Well, I think I'm sure he enjoys it, but it's like he probably it seems in this episode that he evolves beyond it personally.
Yeah.
He wants to have a real relationship. He doesn't want to just have some anonymous sex.
Yeah, that's actually shown really well with the guy that he meets up with. It never shows his face. It's always shrouded in darkness. Even the guy's hair is kind of like bangs that are drooping down over his eyes. So you never get to see his face at all. And then we see on the online dating site that he's really staring at this guy. This new prospective mate right in the eyes. And that's when he writes him.
And he's really writes a very revealing email to him saying that he wants to have a relationship.
Yeah, saying, I know this is a journey that I have to go on my own, but maybe I'll find a friend who can help me find the light switch. So
right.
That's like really sweet.
Nice metaphors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vulnerable for him. Again, more human.
Yeah, a very different episode than what we've seen of him.
Yeah, we've always thought Price was so superhuman in previous seasons. Like, he speaks a dozen languages.
I know, he's a genius.
Yeah.
He's like a super brain.
Yeah, seriously. He probably has an IQ of 200. He knows how to play piano, play the drums, like create his own drum set, right? But he's starting to do slips in this episode. We have him do that slip of the tongue with Roman near the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
And he talks about the Nazi and Spivak connection. And then Roman's like, wait, what are you talking about? I never gave you that information. How did you get a hold of that? Right? And then later on we get to see that opens up the door for Roman and Peter to find the Ochoa connection to Olivia.
Well, yeah, and he's been off his pins ever since the the beginning of this season, right?
Oh yeah, he's been really like his hair. We talked about how his hair is just not combed; it's down. He was like not wearing a blazer, which is so unlike him. His tie was like loosened so many times, and obviously we get to see him. He's probably breaking down, and maybe he hasn't been frequenting the techno bang rooms. I'm just gonna call it that because I don't know what to call it. But he hasn't been frequenting these because his projects have been going well until the end of last season, which was only in their time 6 weeks before this.
And he's also popping pills, so Lord knows what that's doing to him biologically, anatomically,
physiologically.
But there's probably a reason for he's been going through some kind of a personal crisis or catharsis,
Yeah. So was there anything else about Price that we wanted to discuss?
Well, I think he played the drums himself.
Oh man,
I think he did that himself.
Oh,
Joel.
Great.
Yeah.
That looked genuine.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
Joel De La Fuente, he is an amazing actor. Did you get to
very
have too
talented.
many scenes with him?
No, I didn't. He was on set one day when I was there, and but he was just a very, very kind man and very supportive and genuine person. I really enjoyed it. I hung out with him a few times, and a great guy, and I think he's a very talented actor.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
That he is. One more thing about the music he was playing. I'm trying to remember who the composer was, but it would make sense if it was Bach. I'm just like trying to connect the dots between
I forget.
being named Johann after Johann Sebastian Bach.
Right.
But I don't know the musical score. It sounds familiar, like everyone should know that. But
we could probably hold up like our SoundCloud
Yeah.
apps or like SoundHound or something next to the TV. And
Right, or if any of the viewers, if you know what it is, I'm sure somebody out there knows, tweet it at us.
Or put it in the comments. And
Yeah.
be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, and give us a like, give us a thumbs up, so that we know. And we have the coffee coming in for Richard right now.
I
Coffee is
requested a
flying
coffee.
in.
You're so kind to get it for me.
Bring
Thank
that
you.
in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Here, let me move your water so you can
thanks.
put that on the
It's
coaster
strong
there.
coffee, I'll let you know that.
There you go.
Let's get this interview started.
Wow, yeah, it
Right.
is strong.
So let's talk about Shelley and Aitor and how their relationship is going. So give us. I want to hear some background on Aitor because we don't know too much about him. I think he talked to Shelley a little bit a few episodes ago when he got introduced in the hallway.
Yeah.
So what is describe Aitor for us, Richard?
Well, I think it's safe to describe him without spoiling anything for anyone. I mean, the show's out. That's all the episodes are out. So Aitor has kind of a past that he keeps to himself, and he's a very sensitive feeling person, and I think very creative soul, and he wants to help people, but it's also kind of a self-imposed penance for wrongs that he's committed in the past.
Right, and we got a little hint of that because Ochoa was like, he's got some unsavory things.
Right. Yeah.
He said he had priors.
Priors, but he's also a very innocent soul, so it's not like he did anything on purpose. He just had an unfortunate experience, and it's been following him, but more importantly, it's been plaguing him internally. To rely on or care for you, or to in the I think in the episode he's introduced in, the character's introduced in, he talks about he has this monologue about the mammals that eventually evolved into whales, and there was one that was stood out. He was the oddball, but the point of it was that the oddball is the one that took the other animals and led them to the sea to evolve into whales.
Moses.
Moses.
Moses the whale.
Wet Moses.
Wet Moses.
Yeah, and so but who was Fat Mo before he was Wet Moses, and so the importance of that was, you're different, but you're still special to everyone out there. And I think it especially resonated with Shelley.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because she's been she's had a really difficult life. You know, we have a lot of people. Actually, we have very few people. I would obviously Roman, her brother, cares about her very, very much. And even though her mom cares about her, Olivia, it's just in a really twisted way, in a very controlling way.
Well, a very selfish way.
Yeah.
Self-serving way.
Yeah. And then we have Price, who loves everything about her.
Yeah.
Unconditionally, like, and he's a scientist too. So he loves, like, her at the molecular level, especially when she used to illuminate when because of affection.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, she used to glow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And we even had Norman, who showed great affection towards her as well. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, her
I
uncle.
mean, even the poem was for Norman.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a very quick poem too. I don't recall exactly what
It was
he
a
said.
Richard Brodigan poem.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah,
Boo
which are
Forever.
Boo Forever is they're often very short.
I liked how was it? Oh, that was it. It was only what, like 2 lines?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, that's. Well, I thought she was gonna say more, which is so funny. But I love the thing about a ghost spinning on the bottom of a top, which is so like, everything's like irony in that statement, which is great.
And I think it also just shows that she misses someone, and that she's haunted by the fact that she's living a life without someone that she actually cares for, hence Norman.
And a life that she feels is hopeless
Yeah.
until she has come to meet people that she can resonate with or connect with.
Yeah, she can help a lot of people too. Obviously, we saw last episode one of the other characters who are around in Rooster Poot. We love that name, by the way.
Mr. Poot.
She helped the person remove the bottom of a spray can that was like malfunctioning or something. I forgot exactly.
Was it airbrush?
It was an airbrush.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
She had to twist the top off.
Yeah, and obviously because she's so strong, Frankenstein type strength, she can take that off really easily. And we got another example of that strength today, where in this episode we had McDougal making havoc as usual, taking people's stuff, and she just grabs him and is like, "I told you, I warned you," and she just throws him right out.
Yeah, she's really finding her strength and a purpose. I think that's probably what a lot of what the despair was, is she had no purpose and no love.
Yeah, and I like how she's using her strength for good, whereas a lot of people are just afraid that she's going to attack people, when actually she's helping other people in a way with her strength.
Yeah, because she's a completely innocent, pure soul.
Yeah, and I love the connection with the James Cameron characters.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
That's
because
funny.
I'm a James Cameron fan. I was like, yes, Ripley.
Yeah, I was like, Ripley,
Ripley's-
Sarah Connor. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, the James Cameron heroine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all fitting in there, which is so cool. And I love how in this episode we get Aitor doing a lot of that. Like, he just makes so many allusions to different forms of media in the past, and he talks about Piranha, which I looked at Piranha. I don't know, have you guys ever seen Piranha too?
Yeah.
I never saw it myself, but I saw one article saying that it was described as being abject, and I was like, oh man, that's like the worst thing you could probably say, right? But it's funny how Aitor, that's exactly his character though, because he can find the beauty in even the most ugly looking things, like what other people would consider to be
Right.
ugly.
Yeah.
And he finds that he finds the whole thing about humans like destroying nature and therefore we're going to destroy the world theme in that movie.
Yeah, and he really he has some intellectual prowess, and I think the connections that he makes are very unique. With ideas and the way he sees the world, and of course the way he sees people. And I don't think that he really even it's only of passing interest to him the way Shelley looks. It doesn't really have any bearing on how he feels about her.
If anything, he likes it because he has a fascination with that kind of stuff. Like,
it's fascinating, but it's also he sees past, it's her soul and her pure person that is what really shines to him.
Yeah. I think it's also the fact that Shelley herself is very sensitive too, so it might be something that he connects with.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think they have a very sweet dynamic. Yeah, and it would be interesting to see how the relationship carries on with the baby and all of it.
It's what's pretty funny is I feel like she had that uncle relationship with Dr. Price, right?
Right.
Uncle Norman as well. But then we see Aitor come along, and I really thought in the first few episodes that he was there meeting Shelley that he was also going to fill that void, to take that uncle spot. But now it's just, and I actually didn't see it going towards a romance, but this episode, now we know that they have a romantic connection.
And I don't think either one of them saw that coming either. I think it was a surprise, and I know there's quite an age gap between the two of them, but again, that's just something that's really not relevant to his thinking. It's not that he's
Or to their love.
not that he's a pervert or something, or a child molester. It's just not something that really was acknowledged.
Yeah, they had like a different kind of connection, like a real like, human connection, and both of them probably feeling outcasted when you find somebody you connect with.
Right, like Harold and Maude. I mean, that was another giant age gap that just was irrelevant in the end.
Yeah, and additionally to that, they are both on the outskirts of society now.
Right.
She's living with all these people in this place that's a made-up community, pretty much. It's obviously not recognized by any government, city officials, and why do they have to follow all of society's norms? They're not normal people.
That's true. That's correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, was there anything else? So they go on the date. I thought it was funny how they had we get to see a vulnerability in Aitor, and the entire time he's been in all the episodes, he's always been like the really wise guy. He even had that thing about nervousness or nervous. Like, you're not nervous. Okay, nervous is over there, right?
Right.
But then on the date, we have Aitor say, well, you know what? It's an irony that I've been saying that about nervous because I'm actually nervous.
Yeah, yeah. I'm putting on this show that I know how to deal with nervousness, and then here I am. I got nervous again. So yeah, I don't think that little trick always works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was so happy for Shelley to get like a romantic interest.
Yeah.
She's gonna have her first kiss.
It's really sweet. Her first date and probably her first kiss.
Right. I think so.
But someone who cares about her and will actually treat her good compared to everyone else in society who has treated her so poorly.
And who sees her for who she really is.
Yeah.
Until we find out that he's some kind of weird demon that like digs underneath trees or something. I don't know.
We haven't watched the rest of the episodes yet.
Oh, so you may that may happen. We don't know.
But we know he has priors. We just don't know what they are.
Right.
I feel like I could speculate later on during our predictions about what his priors are. I really don't want him to be a bad guy, but we're gonna see what happens. I also think it's funny how the whole show, it's dealing a lot with all these creatures. We have Spivak in the background probably trying to bring on the Armageddon, and that's probably what's happening in Aitor's like the calm of the storm, him and Shelley now in a way, and he's just saying, you know what, I don't care, like the world is being destroyed like slowly one bit at a time, and you know what, it's not going to end in like a big bright flash or like a rumbling or a mushroom cloud. Like, it's hey, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So then what about Shelley getting famous on YouTube?
Wow.
That's
Frankenstein.
Infamous,
Yeah.
notorious in a
That's
way.
that was a big surprise for them.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
Making just a viral video in that way of showing someone's literal fall over and over again.
I know, but I
is
don't
she
think that was the intention behind it.
Yeah. Like I wonder if she's
People
gonna
can just be mean.
Right.
Yes, but is she in a place of confidence where she's gonna like embrace that and be like, all right, I mean, like what, like they're not throwing stuff at me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just completely unexpected,
I feel like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh man, they're so mean. These kids are just stopping them on the street and talking trash to them and just like, but then I watched it the second time and I really looked at their faces while they were saying this, and I was like, whoa, they actually, and their intonation behind their words too, and I was like, they actually kind of think this is cool. They kind of see her as like a pseudo celebrity now.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so in a way, I think they were actually admiring her.
I think so too, and I think it was, the intention was to set it up so it looked like the same old story that she was going to get hurt or verbally abused or something, and then you get the opposite.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, it's Plankenstein. I told you it was her."
Plankenstein.
She Planken.
Yep, she planked. So that
Sick remix.
Yeah, sick remix by Rich Girl on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
Was there anything else about Shelley or Aitor you guys wanted to mention?
What's it like working with Madeline? Like, how are the mechanics of her being shorter than you are in real life?
Oh, well,
working with someone who's so tall.
Well, first of all, Madeline is a very sweet person. She's kind of like Shelley in real life. And she's also very much an intellectual. She's always reading philosophy and stuff between takes. She's a smart girl. But she's obviously very talented. But the way that they did the height difference is they just built ramps for her to walk on. So when we were walking down the street, after the movie, and it was snowing, and she was just walking on a very, very, very long ramp.
She had like a runway.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What is the height difference between you two? Is it about a foot? Because you're a pretty tall guy.
Yeah, I'm 6'1", and she's fairly short. So
maybe like 5'4", something
yeah,
like
I'd say,
5'5".
yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So they had to hike her up. I mean, I think she's supposed to be
almost 7 feet.
Oh
Yeah.
just about 7 feet tall in the show. So
Cool.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you something about. Okay, who did you connect? Obviously, you had a lot of scenes with Madeline on the show, but did you connect with? Who did you connect with the most on set? Like her, I know you had Famke was in the scene with you guys. I don't think you did any scenes with Camille, but who else did you connect with on the show? What other actors, and what did you learn from them?
Oh well, I didn't really get to meet a lot of them until kind of halfway through the season, because it was really just mostly me and Madeline. And we were at this location that would be, we'd be there all day, and that would be it. Like no one else was really at that location. It was an actual warehouse or factory, an abandoned factory that they used as the set, and it was freezing. I mean, I'm Southern California guy, and like my God, I've never been that cold in my life. But the New Yorkers were holding up well.
I'm sure they're conditioned to that.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because I was looking up today. I was wondering, like, how cold was it over there? And I looked up the temperature right now over there. And if it was in Toronto that you guys were filming?
Yeah, Toronto.
So it's 34
in the
degrees.
dead of winter.
Oh wow!
So
it must even be colder than that.
It was cold. And luckily, we got to wear a lot of clothes. So.
Yeah, you always have, as Aitor, you always have that awesome leather jacket.
That jacket is awesome.
Oh yeah,
My
the sheepskin
dad,
jacket.
yeah, the sheepskin jacket. My dad had that kind of jacket in the 80s, and I remember my mom had it in the closet. There was a pair of them in there, and I wish we still had them, because I would bust those out right now and wear them.
You can find those. You can still find those at thrift stores. I thanked God that I got to wear that thing, because man, it was cold. But then I just had jeans on and my boots and stuff. So, but we could wear long johns underneath. And, what were we talking about?
Oh, I was actually going to ask you another question, but let's. Yeah,
you
let's
had
go
an
that
interesting interaction with Olivia.
Oh right, yeah.
Like such disgust.
Making fun of Olivia. Yeah, Olivia got
funny.
pissed.
Oh, she was not having it.
Right.
You could tell she was like, mm-mm.
Oh
no.
man, that was a great scene too, because you didn't say that much to her, which is great. You just said like, oh, it's like great to meet you, and you gave her the little bunny ears. But I thought it was really cool how Aitor was there as Shelley's support. And the whole time you didn't do anything disrespectful other than that, which was more fun, right? And you just stood there next to her. And that was it. And it was just such a powerful thing to see someone standing with Shelley. And Aitor is close to Shelley's height. So it's cool to see them as a force against Olivia, who's also a very impressive person.
She's also very tall.
Yeah,
she is.
Yeah, she's about my height, I think.
Yeah.
Shelley finally has has a support system and people behind her. And I think, I said Aitor's very emotionally intelligent and sensitive, and I think he saw that right away what was going on there without having had it laid out for him,
Speaking of the sensitivity and the intelligence, and it's not just book intelligence too, it's like living out there in the world intelligence.
Yeah.
How much would you say like of you there is in Aitor? How much of yourself did you put in there, and what are some of the qualities that you have there similar to him?
Well, I mean, I'm a fairly creative person and introspective, and I think a lot. And I think probably the thing that most jibes with Aitor is the sorts of connections that I make mentally with things like the monologue about Piranha 2. I mean, I could probably come up with something similar to that, but I mean, obviously that was the writer's genius. But I think that along the way of thinking in maybe in a different way than many people might expect.
Are you sad to see Hemlock Grove go?
Yeah, always. It's always sad to let go of a project and a character, and I mean, that's the beauty of television, is that it goes on for so long. But also part of television is everything comes to an end. So
yeah, all good things come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
but it's not over yet.
Unless it's like Days of Our Lives.
Right. That goes on ad infinitum.
Yeah.
All Good Things. That was the last episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. That was the title of it. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of the same thing that's going on here with Hemlock Grove, and there's a lot of symbolism that they show in all of the episodes for this season. Like we have Olivia losing her stuff. She's infected by disease. Soon her brain's gonna go. Soon she's gonna become this horrid monster. There's not gonna be any of the old Olivia left, even though she was kind of a monster anyway.
Yeah. But the sad thing with Olivia is, like, last episode she lost her materialistic items. Now she's losing her health, and now she
And
eventually
her looks.
Yeah. Eventually she'll lose her physical looks and her mentality. So it's like, what's happening?
Well, it's just I think it's the talent of the showrunner, Chick Agley, and the writers who really gave the story a cool place to go, and all the characters exploring different facets of them in that way, and like similar to what Price is going through, and Destiny and Peter, and I mean, they really are getting deep within these people and revealing a lot about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have Olivia actually losing her men too, because we were speculating, but we didn't quite know that Ochoa and her were a thing. We were like,
right.
how is she paying him for this information? And the money's coming not to him. Well, it's coming to him through Roman, but then it's getting funneled somewhat to her. So. And Marisa, you were proposing last time that she was using her extans compelling powers on him, right?
Quite possibly.
So do you feel... there was a scene with them in the apartment. She was hugging him, and she was like... He seemed like he was really adamant on going to Florida at first. But then she was like, well, don't go. Is there anything I can do to keep you around? And the way she was hugging him and speaking into his ear, I'm like... She's using her compelling powers on him. She's going to compel him to stay, just like she did with Norman, where she brainwashed him.
I don't know. I think she's just using her sexuality on him. I mean, she's a very beautiful woman, and like he's probably into her.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was quite superpowers or just like woman powers.
Right.
I thought it was the extents the first time I watched it, and then the second time I was like, yes, maybe it could be that, but I think after following up the conversation she just had with Annie, like, men leave. This is completely validating her point. Like, men just leave in her story, in her life. It's really sad.
But she wants men to stick around. She wants him to stick around. Ochoa, he's the only guy that she's got left. She obviously Norman, she ripped his heart out, and because he was going to leave her.
Well, she's a strange character. I mean, she's got some Black Widow tendencies, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
So she's
very complicated person.
Yeah, she may even do the same thing with Ochoa. She'll be loving him 1 minute, and then the next second she's gonna bite his head off.
It's possible.
Oh, I feel like you know something.
Well, I have read the scripts. I was there.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking of biting stuff, Peter looked like he wanted to bite Ochoa's head off this episode. Oh man, we have seen Peter do totally dark stuff this time. Actually, he's really devolving. From his humanity, which is funny. Maybe it's some of that wolf stuff left over from last season, right? Because he was not supposed to turn against the moon, but he kept doing it. Right.
It might be that, but also the fact that he purposely turned over someone who he grew close with, so that was just a personal, and that it also affects his family, his cousin. So I think that was just on a personal level, not just the werewolf side of him. It's just on a personal level that affected him.
Yeah. So the whole thing that happened with him is he first they do the whole Ochoa thing, and then after that he and Roman go get the body because Andreas's body is in the car, randomly abandoned in some like junk lot, right? The Croatians put it there, and they gave him the option, which was actually kind of nice, I guess.
Really sad, the fact that they dumped his body literally in a junk lot. Like the actual physical reference was like, he's garbage now. We put him where the other garbage is.
But kind of maybe an unwritten code among criminals or gangsters is that you give the option of burying the body or not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe because that's probably what they would want, the option.
Right.
Do you want to others?
Right. Maybe it's a courtesy.
Yeah. So we just have him pining over it though, like looking at the body and deciding what to do, and he decides that he wants to have the body be found so that they can do a whole funeral. Marisa, your predictions, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah. So the prediction is there's a church, right? And I don't know if the Roma people like to use churches or not, but maybe it's just symbolism in her vision.
I mean, we've established in season 1 that Romanians like to have a proper funeral, whether it be like properly beheading someone or just a proper send off to someone. So it would make sense that the Romanian culture would reflect Andreas's funeral.
Yeah. So they ultimately decide that they are going to have his body found. They put it out in some other parking lot, right? And when Peter knelt down to the body, you could see he really was lamenting what he did, but he had to do it to protect his cousin and protect everybody else in their clan, right? When he closed his eyes, I was like, "No, don't touch, man! Like you're gonna leave your DNA. You're gonna
leave fingerprints."
Fingerprints.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
I just think Peter's just gone to a really dark place, having to be caught in this catch that he's in.
Yeah, like a hard decision that he had to make, but must have happened, but he's recovering from that decision.
Yeah.
Or he won't recover from it.
He's experiencing the consequences.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just him lying to Destiny was the hardest thing I've ever seen Peter do, and he just how can you lie? He's a character who actually doesn't do the bad thing.
And how can you lie to a psychic?
I know.
That would be intimidating.
That's dangerous stuff there, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why, like later on, we're gonna talk about her nosebleed thing. Oh my gosh. It was just crazy. But when he lied to her right at the end of the episode and he embraced her, you could see the pain and anguish in his face, and it was way worse than what was going on in Destiny's face, right? She was obviously heartbroken because he's dead, but with Peter, he knows that he killed him. He sent him to his death. Ouch.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was really tough for him because family is so important, and that guy was practically family, and then also, but he really had no choice.
Yeah, with Destiny, we get to see in the beginning of the episode that we get to see her escalation in like finding out what happened to him. It's like denial at first, right? It's almost like the stages of grief.
Denial,
right?
anger.
Yeah, she was denying that he was dead by constantly calling him and being like, okay, I'm sure you went off to Vegas with some slore, right? Some stripper, but just come on back. I'll forgive you. You're 2 hours late, okay? The girls are gonna take me. So the girls, they go to the the bridal shop, right? And they're picking out the dress. So funny, because when they start talking about the colors of the dresses, they're like bone biscuit or beige.
And they keep saying it.
Yeah. And I'm just like, white? AKA white?
Can't have just white.
Yeah, I know. Right? You have to have all those shades, right, as a bridal shop.
It's very technical.
Biscuit?
Yeah.
Biscuit,
what's biscuit like?
I think biscuit's the darkest it gets.
Is it?
Right.
Because it could be singed a little bit.
It's not like burnt biscuit.
That's funny.
But
it's a serious thing.
Yeah. So she was getting angry then.
Very technical, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Taking a wedding dress.
Have you ladies done that? Have you gone to any bridal shops with your friends, your girlfriends?
Yeah, but I don't remember hearing those kind of names.
No.
For
the shades, did they have a bunch of different
they
shades of
probably
white?
do, but it's like, there are different shades of white that you can choose from, but it's never been like this dress isn't available in 5 different colors. It's like either you get the biscuit dress or you get the
I see. Well, this was a very high end.
We're not going to a fancy one.
This was a very high end, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're shopping like downtown LA, so it's like.
But it doesn't matter because that dress was ruined.
Yeah, she bled all over it. It was like a downward fountain, waterfall of blood.
I thought that was a really cool scene.
That was.
I love the way they do that stuff with Destiny. She always gets like these weird scenes to do. Teo Horn, she's just amazing. Did you get to hang out with Teo?
I did, yeah. She's a very sweet person. She's one of my favorite characters on the show, Destiny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
us
she's
too.
cool.
There's so much fan art that is inspired by Destiny, and I just see it like all over Instagram, and Teo Horn like puts it up on her Instagram. It's just like it's nice to see that stuff. And one of the iconic scenes is her. Well, definitely from the first season is when her eyes were like all black, and she's just like, it looks like she's possessed.
When she was in trance.
Yeah, when she was in trance and possessed, and then when
she threw up.
Yeah, and then she threw up, the little worm guy. But then the next season, another iconic scene is where she's in the bathtub drowning herself to get those visions, right? Just so fascinating.
Oh, right, yeah. She's a really interesting character, and she does an amazing job with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've interviewed her every season.
Have you?
Yeah, she's so good.
Amazing.
You've had Joel too, right?
We've had Joel on. Yes, we interviewed him, not in studio, but we had him via Skype. So he's such a cool guy, and we're actually going to interview him next week.
Yes,
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
great.
we are.
It's going to be super cool. We love talking to him, and we're going to have to break down everything about Price and talk about all the little facets of Price.
There's so many things to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just a great season for him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Even more iconic this season because of all the flaws that are revealed now.
Right. Yeah. All of his humanity is coming to light.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything else on Destiny unless you guys want to mention something.
Other than the fact I think she knows that Andreas is dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well.
Like, how can she not pick that up?
Yeah.
And nobody ever gave that poor girl a tissue.
No, they just like
Bleeding.
Well, Peter's got long hair. She could just grind his hair.
No, I was talking about when she was
At the
bleeding
spa shop.
under her dress.
Yeah.
Her girlfriends do not seem like they're very nice. They don't seem like they're really true friends. You guys get that feeling?
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I think they
They're
are.
just there.
I think they are. I think everyone's just in shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're just along for the ride. Like, they're probably good girlfriends, but they're just like there to participate in the whole like getting married thing, and just to be a part of that. Like, maybe to throw her. They love throwing her the bachelorette party, I'm sure.
Right.
That they did.
When did that one happen? When did the bachelorette party scene happen?
Last
end of the
episode.
last
last
episode, because they're like
tingle.
dancing and they're having fun. Andreas
Right,
gets shot,
right,
and then yeah,
She
Yeah.
felt it.
She felt it.
she knew.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right when the balls were cut off of the cake.
Yes.
Wah, wah.
Well, let's go ahead and ask Richard some more questions about what's going on in your career.
Oh sure.
Yeah, so you have some projects coming up pretty soon?
Yeah. After we finished shooting Hemlock Grove, it was a coincidence, a happy coincidence, that my wife is a producer and writer and director. This was actually her first time directing, but she directed a film her name is Jenna Madison. She directed a film in Toronto with myself and Rose McGowan and Christopher Lloyd and Michael Eklund. It's a psychological thriller called Lower Bay, and it's going to come out next year.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it was cool that it happened that way, because she came along with me to Toronto, and then she was in pre-production while I was shooting Hemlock Grove, and then we went into
what great
production
timing.
on Lower Bay right away.
You could not get away from the cold.
No, it was great then, actually.
Oh, okay.
It was really nice out then. Yeah.
That's such great connections, because you were there because of Hemlock Grove, and then you worked with Christopher Lloyd while you were on Granite Flats.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's
and I worked with Chick Agley, who was the showrunner for seasons 2 and 3. I worked with him on Dark Angel.
It's fantastic.
He was a
Dating all the way
co-creator.
back to that.
Going back.
Co-created that with, and then we talked about James Cameron in the show.
Great.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
It all comes around.
Yeah.
Full
Just like this
circle.
weird snake thing that we don't know about too
Oh,
much.
the
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. Yeah, the
Ouroboros.
snake that
There you
eats
go.
its own tail.
Well, it sounds like
That'll come back.
It's a little
Yeah.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they? So let's. I think they're asking us to wrap it up.
How did
okay.
you, real quickly, how did you actually get involved with Hemlock, and what was your audition process like?
Well, I didn't audition for this one. It was more of Chick Agley, who was the showrunner, who was co-creator and showrunner on Dark Angel. I worked with him back then, and then he and I connected over the summer before summer of 2014, because I was up in Toronto doing a film up there called Gridlocked, and he was, and my wife and I binge watched season 2 of Hemlock Grove, because we really dug season 1 also. And we were like, oh, it was so great. And I got to write Chick and tell him how great it was. So I wrote him. I said, season 2 is so excellent. And then he's like, hey, I said, we're up in Canada and we binge watched your show. And he's like, where are you? I'm in Canada. I said, I'm in Toronto. He's like, I'm in Toronto. Let's meet for lunch. So we met for lunch, and he kind of pitched me this role. And I was like, well, sign me up. I'm on board.
Yeah, that's so great.
Wow.
Easily done.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
that's how it went down.
So tell us more about your everything, like your backstory, like leading up. Like you said you're from Thousand Oaks,
Right.
here in California, which is not too far away from LA.
Very close to LA.
Right. So how was your whole career? How did it evolve? How did you get to this point?
Well, it's a strange thing that I ever turned out to be an actor, because when I was a kid, my mom and my grandmother forced me to audition for a movie called Mr. Mom, if y'all remember that movie. There was an open call for the kids, and I was a very shy kid, and they took me down there, and I failed miserably, because they wanted a gregarious, outgoing kid, and that was the last I thought I would ever be involved with that sort of thing. And then my sisters did some extra work. My mom wanted us to do extra work when we were older, and I didn't want to do that. And then I was pretty shy, so I took a theater class in high school to kind of overcome that. My guidance counselor, he's like, you want to overcome shyness, you can take speech or theater class. And I thought theater sounded much more interesting, so I took it, and it just I clicked with it, and I fell in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. So you did some really you did an iconic show, Dark Angel. And you were a regular on that show for years.
Right. Yeah. So that was my first real big job. I went to UC Santa Cruz, and I studied theater arts there, and I worked with this professional repertory theater there called Shakespeare Santa Cruz, and then I came down to LA immediately after graduating, and I kind of hit the pavement, and I paid my dues, and I ended up on Dark Angel, fortunately, and I've been working since then.
Yeah, and even just within the last couple of years, you've had some really good roles too. Like you've been on, like we mentioned earlier, Granite Flats, where you played the chief of police Sanders on there, and I love your character there. By the way,
thanks.
I love how even just in the pilot, they focus so much on you there, like going around investigating, patrolling the town, dealing with disputes.
I really dug working on that show. It was a great experience. I'm really thankful for it. What I find so cool about that show is that it's something that families can watch together, because that was what they had in mind when they created it. Because there's so much that, you know, the kids stuff is not accessible to adults, and then the adult stuff not very accessible to the kids, and the parents especially don't want them to see it. So this is a good middle ground, you know, that families can enjoy together, and it makes me happy in a way that's something I was able to be a part of. And
yeah, you had a good run on there. You had 3 seasons, and then you got Christopher Lloyd to come in and work with you.
Right.
During,
yeah. Well, that's how I
season 2.
met him. That guy is so talented. What a and a really kind man. Really, but he's so talented. I love watching him work. And it was great that he agreed to do Lower Bay too.
I have like 2 interesting connections with Christopher Lloyd. I actually randomly saw him in Santa Barbara walking down State Street one time.
He lives out there, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just so nice. I was like, "Oh my God, it's Dr. Brown!" You know. And I just said, "Mr. Lloyd," you know. I just did like the typical like fan thing, fanboy thing. I took a picture with him. It was great, you know, to meet him. And he's really impressively tall too. He's about your height.
He's tall, and he's in good shape.
Yeah.
He's like very fit guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great Scott.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then you also had the movie Dark Places that you were in with Charlize Theron.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you played Luke Cates in that.
Right.
And I haven't seen the film, but I did read the book, and it's a really good. I just read the sample though, but it's a great book. And I want to see the film just to see how it turns out.
You should. I think the film was really well done. I think the director really did it justice. Really did the story justice, and the performances were all spot on. You know, I was really, really drawn in by that film. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I think that about does it for us. Unless, let's go ahead and let's do our predictions to wrap up the show.
Okay.
Your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right, that's the quick prediction time.
Oh, that is
Okay.
the quick one.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with Marielou.
All right, so I don't have so much of a prediction, of more of a plea, like, please, can we know what's going on with the baby?
Yeah.
Right. Like, so I predict that it's got to happen in the next episode, because it's driving me nuts. I want to know what's going on over there.
I predict that Aitor won't die, because his whole conversation with Shelley in the theater, talking about, you know, the world is pretty much destroying itself because of mankind's involvement with the environment. I think he knows what's going on. He's telling the audience the foreshadowing, hey, the end is near. And if so, he knows he has that survival instinct. So I don't think he'll die, because I think we were speculating that he will. I don't think he will. So
I'm going to keep my predictions to myself.
How about a tease? Do you want to tease anything at us?
Oh man, there's so much yet to come. You have no idea.
Okay, great.
and Andreas is dead.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to my prediction, saying that Aitor is going to die, because I feel like Olivia is she just wants Shelley back so badly. Whether it's gonna be Olivia kills Aitor, and then we have Shelley. You're giving me like the scrunchy eyes over there. What's going on? You don't agree with me?
I'm thinking of Annie, because I think I speculate Annie's going to die as well.
Okay.
But Aitor will live, because we had the whole nice conversation with Annie and Olivia in this episode. So
I feel like
will Shelley kill Annie?
I feel like a lot of characters will die.
But do you have any predictions on how they will die?
No.
I think Olivia will kill Annie.
I got Olivia killing Aitor. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Oh, is there a thing like if Olivia kills Annie, then she gets her like youth back or something weird like that? I mean, anything's possible.
Oh no, but she's got the parasite infecting her, the tumor. There's no way she's gonna.
But they're like the only cure is eating your baby.
The only cure is eating other peers. Yeah. But no way. No,
but that's not.
No way.
But it's not a cure though.
Yeah,
eating other peers is not a cure.
Yeah, it doesn't even.
No, but like if it's like actually her DNA.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
I still think Roman's gonna kill Olivia.
Shelley too, Priscilla, she was her DNA. So, but she still must have been infected at that point. But anyway,
Priscilla. You mean Olivia was still infected at that point.
Yes.
She was, and then she got better. Maybe she got worse.
I hear music. Are we cut off?
Yeah, we're wrapping it up right here. Let's go ahead and hear where we can follow everybody at.
You can find me on all social media at Marielou Mandl.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
Richard?
You can find me on Twitter at Richard Gunn Inc. That's my name, and INC.
Okay, very good. And you guys can find me at Sean Austin O. That's SeanAustino on Twitter and Instagram. And be sure to check out my book, City of Angels and Discontent, on the iTunes iBookstore and download it. Give me a rate and review and let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much, and we'll talk with you guys next week.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's really fun. Yeah.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.